Victims of domestic abuse can now find help with an artificial intelligence chatbot. The chatbot, called the Rainbow, runs through Facebook Messenger and gives users the privacy to talk about their problems and receive advice. For more information on this, we're joined by Joanne van der Walt from the SAGE Foundation. They were involved in the development of this artificial project. A very good afternoon to you, Joanne. Just how is this going to work?
Thanks for having me, Tembekile. So Rainbow was launched on Thursday along with a local not-for-profit called Soul City. They were partners in this, and it was developed by AI for Good. Kriti Sharma from AI for Good actually developed it. It's been a project which has been in the making for about a year, and the idea is that we provide a platform for women to be able to talk about the situations and unhealthy relationships that they're in, and it's a non-human response. So like you said, it's a chatbot. And we think that by removing the shame and the stigma associated with domestic violence, we're hopefully going to open up the conversation to a much wider audience.
Interesting that you've gone the chatbot route, because some people would say people who are suffering domestic violence and all those kinds of abuses sometimes would need a more emotional reception when they begin to speak about their experiences. Do you find that a chatbot would be more effective than an actual person?
Not at all. So Rainbow is not intended to replace a human being, that's for sure. Rainbow is just the beginning of the journey. So a lot of women in abusive relationships sometimes don't even realize what's happening. So we have currently 2,000 unique users and over 50,000 conversations on Rainbow. And often the questions that are coming up are, is this normal? Is it normal that my partner wants to see my phone all the time? Is it normal that he has control of my finances and I have to ask for money? So those are the types of questions that are coming through on Rainbow, but it definitely the plan is not that it replaces a human being at all.
What's also brilliant about this is you're not limiting the use of the chatbot to the actual sufferers of abuse. You are also opening it up to friends and family. What help is there for them?
So for the friends and family, it's more about trying to reach out or direct or guide a survivor or a victim of domestic violence to Rainbow. You know, there are people that I know who have siblings that were in relationships of domestic violence and they didn't know about it for 3 years. It was their own sister. So the plan is that we try and educate moms, siblings, friends, colleagues of people in that situation and use that as the first step to start the conversation.
Why combine this or link it to Facebook Messenger? Is it because of ease of access?
Absolutely. So there's no downloading. It's not an app. There's no passwords. So it lives on Facebook Messenger. But the way that a user would access it is they would go onto the website, www.highrainbow.org, and there's a little Facebook Messenger icon on the screen. They click on that and they start to chat.
That again ties into one of the things you were saying at the launch that I was reading up on, is the idea of democratizing access to information. And it ties in very nicely, I suppose, with the South African story, because often people will say, a lot of the times, be it with crime or any other problem, the issue is the lack of access to information.
100%. So Rainbow has a couple of stories and themes, and if people aren't comfortable typing in questions, direct questions to Rainbow, and remember it's just a machine, so over time and through thousands of conversations it's going to learn how to respond to specific questions. But right now there's multiple stories where a user can have a look and go, okay, I want to talk about intimacy issues or financial control or whatever it is that's worrying them in their relationship, and they have access to that information.
Beyond the immediate assistance to people who find themselves on the receiving end of abuse, you are also hoping to take some of the insight that you get from the app to somehow inform or influence governance reform.
100%. So the plan is that, I mean, everyone's data is absolutely 100% private. So the information that people put in is completely anonymized, and the high-level aggregated data is what will be shared in terms of trends or what people are asking for. So we know from that data that we've seen so far, and Rainbow can't be all things to all people, is that the users are asking about sexuality, they're asking about is my partner cheating on me, so infidelity questions, and obviously am I in an abusive relationship. But 100% the plan is to eventually gather big sets of data and be able to present this to either lobby groups or government or whoever it is that would be interested in trying to fix the problem.
It's not an easy task. How demanding is it of the partners involved, yourselves as Sage and the other companies that are working on this?
So Sage Foundation was an initial funder of the project. So we brought money to the table and we obviously helped with the development. And then we engaged with Soul City. So Soul City would be the content experts. They're a not-for-profit that is very involved in survivors of domestic violence, lobbying for their rights, etc. So we don't profess to be experts in that area. Sage Foundation support women. That's our field of interest. And obviously in this instance, we want to help women through using technology for improving social justice issues.
And lastly, it's up and running. How do people get access to it again?
So they go on to www.highrainbow.org and they start chatting. It's as easy as that. No passwords, no download. It's not an app.
Linked to Facebook Messenger.
100%.
Joanne van der Veld, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.